Mike Dooley, of course, is a former Price Waterhouse Coopers international tax consultant turned entrepreneur who's founded a philosophical adventurers club on the internet that's now home to over 350,000 members from over 182 countries, making a difference in the world. His inspirational books have been published in 21 languages, and he was one of the featured teachers in the international phenomenon, The Secret. Today, Mike is perhaps best known for Notes from the Universe, the way so many of us. Oh, you make our day every day. Emailings and books from his New York Times bestseller, Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams. Mike lives what he teaches. We will all be reinforced in that beautiful idea tonight. Traveling internationally, speaking on life, dreams, and happiness. Welcome, Mike Dooley.
Steve, thank you very much. Good to have you. Woohoo! Jambo, fellow adventurers! Wow, this is a defining moment in my career, a highlight, and I'm grateful, deeply grateful to all of you for coming out tonight and making this evening possible. I know it takes some courage to go to an event on is it Friday? Friday night, to one of these woo-woo, new-agey kind of speakers. You probably couldn't even tell all of your friends where you really are tonight. So I hand it to you, and I'm truly grateful that you stepped out of your comfort zone and you're here. Yeah! I'm also deeply grateful to Reverend Steve and Unity Church of the Hills. They have worked tirelessly to make this day possible, and I can tell you from the staff that I've met and the ones I haven't, there's an energy around here that really calms the soul. It is like coming home, and those of you who are members of this fine church are blessed, if I may say that. Thank you very much. So welcome to the celebration, Manifesting Change. I've been doing this, it's very hard to believe, full-time now, for about 10 years. And this celebration, it kind of copies the one we did last year when we were celebrating our 9th anniversary, and it coincided serendipitously with the release of Infinite Possibilities. And because for 10 years now there's been kind of a philosophical adventurers club on the internet, and we didn't want to just leave it at philosophy, we've been taking people on tours and trips, Cairo, Tahiti, Machu Picchu, but we've been missing something. We've been missing you. And so starting last year, we started to kind of create a sweepstakes. Last year, through the sweepstakes, we selected 2 winners to go with us to Egypt, and then 2 winners, we paid all the expenses for them to go with us to Tahiti. And this year, every one of you qualify for your presence here tonight to enter into the sweepstakes celebrating manifesting change in our 10th year in business, if business is what you can call it. And the winners will receive, one winner will receive 2 tickets, all expenses paid, to an African safari in September, 11 nights on the Masai Mara in a tent. And then the first prize, that was the grand prize, the first prize is going to be one person who gets to bring a good buddy to join us in February on a Mayan cruise. And I didn't want anybody to not know that you qualify for this, for your attendance here tonight. Simply go to tut.com and check out the rules for the sweepstakes. It's hard to miss. We've flagged the whole site with flags and banners and emblems. And purchase is not required. And of course we tell you that after you got here. But you, your friends, the mom, dad, the kids, they can send in a postcard to a sweepstakes, an independent company that's monitoring all of this. And I would love to think that perhaps 2 or 4 of you here will get to join us on adventures in the future. And this is kind of our way of saying thank you very much for giving us wings at Tuts Adventurers Clubs, for subscribing to the notes. I take it a few of you get them. How many here don't get the notes from the universe? Have courage. Come on, it's okay. We will not pick on you. Well, for your benefit, I am going to do a few readings from Manifesting Change tonight, and most of those readings will be actually some of the few notes that are peppered throughout the book, because they are short little missives from the universe, if you will, designed to remind you of life's magic and your power. And so, in between those notes, I'll be kind of giving you a commentary, chapter by chapter, through the 8 chapters of Manifesting Change, and I've made a solemn promise that we will be out of here by 11. No, clock is running. You'll be out of here in an hour, and then we'll celebrate together. Okay, so what I'd like to do is walk you through these chapters, and the first one is called "You Are an Effortless Creator." You actually don't need your book. The first one's called "You Are an Effortless Creator." That chapter, 1/8 of the book, if not more, is kind of my attempt to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to understanding the truth about the nature of reality, who we are, how we got here, and what we can do with our lives. When Infinite Possibilities came out a year ago, my publishers arranged for a publicity radio tour, and I was interviewed by 70 mainstream radio stations, and it became very predictable what the first question out of their mouths would be. "Mike, you've written a book on the art of living your dreams. What do you see as being the number one thing that holds people back?" The number one thing. There's a lot of right answers. Does anybody want to guess what my answer is? Fear is one. Absolutely. Thoughts, beliefs, ourselves. These all fall under the umbrella, if you will, of my number one reason, and that is not understanding the truth. The truth about who you really are. All that you're capable of. Look at it like this. If you or somebody you knew held the belief that life was hard, that people are mean, that it's only the early bird that gets the worm, after all, opportunity only knocks once. Chances of getting ahead, oh gosh, good luck. If those were your beliefs based on misunderstanding the nature of reality, how eager would you be to get out of bed every morning when the alarm clock went off? Not. Whereas, if you were enlightened to the truth, and there is a truth, an objective truth, if you understood that God dwells within inside of you, that you are literally the eyes and ears of God come alive, that you were born to thrive, to discover, to adventure, to love, that your thoughts unfailingly become the things and events of your life, with no mitigating factors, not karma, not ancient spiritual contracts. They have a place in trying to describe the nature of reality, but too often they're misunderstood to the point of us giving away our power. If you understood that the universe, if you will, metaphorically, and all of the angels were conspiring on your behalf 24/7, if these were your realizations, how eager would you be to get out of bed every morning when the alarm clock went off? You probably wouldn't need it, and you'd probably be really annoying to a lot of other folks. And this is what understanding the truth gives you. It's not okay to have one foot or one leg in the camp of metaphysical, new age, law of attraction thinking, and another leg in the camp of, well, you know, God's deciding these things for me, or God's judging me, or maybe I chose this life to experience poverty. None of those things are true. They've never been true for anybody. You chose to come here for the adventure of it, knowing that any obstacle on your path, and you may have chosen to be born onto a stage where there was abuse, neglect, no guardians to speak of. It was kind of a merry-go-round. But you would have chosen that for the ability that it would give you to grow and become more than you had ever been in any other experience before, because you know that we are eternal beings. You've always been, and you will always be. You come from the highest. And the idea of this chapter, which is similar to the preface of all of my teaching, whether it's a workshop or my other books, is to make sure you understand this. Otherwise, there goes your power. If you want to deliberately create change in your life, to manifest change in your life, you must know the truth. And the truth is so simple. I've shared it with you. Your God come alive because you wanted to. And in this chapter, I help you learn how to use the simple muscle of deductive reasoning so you can connect your own dots, thereby empower yourself. Understanding is the elixir of life. And when you understand yourself and you realize that you existed before this reality began, you realize that the choices you made to come here came from the zenith of your magnificence, beyond what you could even fathom now. You then can get to the very obvious, literal realization that you being who you now are is who you most wanted to be. Exactly as you now are. And you knew exactly what you were doing from the zenith of your magnificence. This is the kind of realization that you can arrive to by connecting your own dots when you finally start asking the hard questions. When you ask the hard questions, and our society has almost never done this, we've just kind of listened to what other people's answers were. When you ask the hard questions, you find out they have very easy answers, and the answers invariably empower you. With the slate wiped clean, and you have an understanding, I hope, of your divinity, your power, and the infinite possibilities at your disposal from this day forward. Then we get into the heart of the material. Chapter 2 is titled The Miraculous Mechanics of Manifestation. And I state early on that just because they are indeed miraculous, that doesn't mean they need to be mysterious. They most certainly are not. And when I got to this material, I thought to myself, what better place to begin a talk on the mechanics of manifestation than with the very first one ever, the jungles themselves of time and space. The first reading is a note that kind of captured a realization I had one day, kicking pine cones around my backyard for my dogs in between writing these notes, and it was with elation and joy that I had this kind of realization when I was asking the question, how did it all come about? These jungles, this magnificence, this splendor. So I rushed into the house when I had this kind of epiphany, and I wrote this note. Ain't it grand? Doesn't it boggle your mind? The harmony, the splendor, the beauty, the intricacies, the synchronicities, and the staggering perfection. Do you ever wonder how it all came about? Our mainstream scientists tell us that there are at least 100 billion, think of that number, 100 billion at a minimum stars in the Milky Way galaxy alone. And that there are at least, at a minimum, 100 billion more galaxies. Not to mention planets. Yet of this one, those same scientists say that there are about 100 million different species. Inhabiting air, land, and sea, there's no crack, crevice, nook, or cranny on this planet that's not teeming with life. Extraordinary life. Fascinating life. Did you know that there's whales in the Atlantic Ocean off of Canada that communicate by song to whales 2,000 miles away in the Caribbean? Did you know that there's a bird, the Arctic tern, that takes off at the onset of winter every year from Siberia for warmer weather 8,000 miles away in Australia? Much of its flying done while it sleeps.